Schumacher, 4.42 seconds. Look at the heartbreak.
This, above all, there's just never been anything like it.
Here we go.
Coming up on NHRA Today, what a finish for the Top Fuel Championship. Tony Schumacher and his team did the impossible to win the 06 title. They threw up the Hail Mary and came down with it. We'll also break down the rest of the 06 season. Who surprised us? Who was the biggest disappointment? And what do we have to look forward to in 07? It's our last show of the season, and we've got lots to talk about. So let's go!
So let's go.
NHRA Today is presented by Lucas Oil.
And now it's time to say goodbye to the 2006 NHRA Powerade drag racing season. And we're going to do it with a little bench racing and reflection at the Wally Parks NHRA Motorsport Museum, our home away from home for this final edition of NHRA Today for 2006. Joined by my pit colleague Gary Gerald and analyst extraordinaire, 22-time national event winner Mike Dunn. We are all in shock at what we saw in Pomona. Simply put, Tony Schumacher needed a miracle, and he got it. Help me here, Mike. That was unbelievable.
You're telling me, I mean, 336 points behind, and to be able to make up that deficit, it's amazing. But the one thing about it, I mean, even when they were struggling at the beginning of the year, you know, that car was making good horsepower. They were making good runs qualifying way up there, just didn't have the consistency. It was when Alan Johnson decided, hey, I'm not going to change my combination because I'm not going to back this thing down to go down the racetrack consistently because we won't win the championship. I got to make a change to the car. They changed, they moved the engine out, changed that position in there, and kept the tune-up pretty much the same. Obviously, they had to make some adjustments for that, but the car came out running the numbers it was running at the beginning of the season, got the consistency down, and, you know, the rest is history.
And Gary, with the high came the unbelievable low. You were standing next to Doug Coletta.
I don't think I'll ever forget that gut-wrenching moment when Doug Coletta, watching that monitor at the end of the track, sees the national record, which he had to have to get the 20 bonus points to win the championship. It was so astounding. And you could just, I mean, I felt so bad for Doug Coletta and for that team and how hard they've worked. But by the same token, you have to tip your cap to Alan Johnson, to Tony Schumacher, the gambler's mentality that Alan Johnson has, and being able to deliver at the critical moment. A year ago, we sat in this museum, we talked about the great stretch run that Tony Schumacher had as he crushed the opposition down the stretch and he won it going away, the largest margin in Top Fuel history. And then to come from 336 back, as Mike mentioned, it's staggering to me.
And we thought about, you know, the points and the way they were going to work out next year, that, you know, Tony Schumacher was going to be okay, but he made a statement by coming back this year. He really did. Looking forward to 07, though. What's it going to be like with this new point structure? Now everybody's in the mix again.
Well, yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch. Obviously, going to, you know, the Indy and taking the top 8 and closing the gap up down to 70 points, and then going into the last 2 races with the top 4 within 30 points. I mean, that's going to create a lot of excitement there, obviously. But that'll be interesting to watch. We always say the cream always rises to the top, and I kind of think that's going to be the case next year. But we'll have to wait and see. Having said that, who do you like then next year, or is it impossible to even pick?
Well, I think it's going to be intriguing because we've got a lot of new combinations in terms of teammates. You know, if Jack Beckman's now going to become the teammate to Tony Schumacher, Melanie Troxel will hook up with Morgan Lucas. You've got these different combinations, and you wonder, well, how will this play out? But certainly, I mean, what the Schumacher camp has done in the last few years in dominating now, and the fashion in which they achieved their championship this year, you have to put them, in my mind, at the top of the list. But certainly, I mean, Ron Tobler, Doug Coletta, those people, they were there. They came so very, very close. They've got to be a factor again.
There is still lots more to come on this season finale of NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil. We talked about greatness. John Force gets an unprecedented 14th Funny Car Championship. That's 13 more, by the way, than Pro Stock driver Jason Line. Is he bound for more in his young career? And Andrew Hines is only 23. He already has 3 titles on his resume. How many more will he nab? We'll break it all down.
Oil. Keep that engine alive. And in part by the Fram Boost Air Intake System. Performance speaks for itself at framboost.com. And Motel 6. For the lowest price of any national chain, call 1-800-4-MOTEL-6.
Welcome back to NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil from the beautiful NHRA Wally Parks Motorsport Museum in Pomona, California. Well, you know, drivers are a special breed. What does it take to be the best? Well, that's the question we answer in this week's Harley-Davidson Quarter Mile Profile.
To me, a good driver is one that doesn't make any mistakes.
I think you're either born with it or you're not.
Someone that can focus and put everything behind them.
I think I looked that up in the dictionary and it said not Morgan Lucas.
In drag racing, we only have 4 seconds to do our jobs correctly, and there's no mistakes. In a quarter of a mile, it's who makes the least amount of mistakes wins.
This is not a kind of sport that it's just you drive, you know, on the seat of your pants.
Oh man, what a run!
This car is a bad hombre today.
You heard John Force talk about his car as it's always a chick he's talking about. It's a girl.
Bottom line, or Hot Rod, she's okay, but right up there I saw the trouble. I know Katz, he saw it too.
I remember growing up always hearing him, she did this, she did that. Well, he feels that car he's one with that car, and I never understood it before till I started driving them, and that's the way you gotta feel. That car is home.
A good driver probably consists of a lot of concentration, being able to be relaxed, not get all tensed up.
When the car makes a bad run, smokes the tires, shakes the tires, something like that, where you can save it and complete the run and hopefully get the win light.
What a drag race! Look at the speed! Look at the speed!
That kid did a great driving job there to get that win.
A good driver doesn't give their team any surprises. Like, I want him to take the driver out of the equation. Like, you just tune the car, and I'm gonna do the same thing every time, and it's automatic.
Good drivers usually, to me, are the people who could do the same thing twice and who can react quick and know what to do when a situation turns bad.
There's a lot of drivers out there that are probably hard-pressed to know what a spark plug is, but I don't think that necessarily makes them a bad driver.
If it's something that you want to do bad enough, you will succeed because you'll find the extra edge it takes to succeed the way that you want.
It's not that hard to push the throttle that far, physically. The trick is to knowing when to let off, and it's not that hard to hit the throttle and just hold the steering wheel. The trick is to know when to move it and when not to move it. That's what makes a good driver.
But now is the most important run of the season for both Antron Brown and Andrew Hines. You get 20 points for each round win, so you know exactly what's at stake. Antron must win this round against Craig Treble and must also then win the next one. Treble drills the tree. And the championship is over. Treble goes 7:06, and look at Andrew Hines.
Another thing we learned about Andrew Hines, boy, that kid can jump. He was plenty excited to win his 3rd championship, Gary.
One of the things that I love about the showdown when you come down to the last race of the season, the unbridled emotion. And to me, that's what makes this sport so very special. And to see Andrew Hines at age 23, that youthful enthusiasm, just absolutely unleashing it all when he realized that he had clinched a 3rd consecutive title. And you think about his family, the pedigree that he comes from, and the great success that the Vance and Hine teams have had over the years, there has to be a certain amount of pressure on Andrew. And to realize that, and I loved it. It's another great special moment of a season ender.
And for Antron Brown, you know, he just came up short, a number of red lights. The NHRA is going to address that next year, but how crushing to come so close again.
Well, I mean, it's always crushing to become that close and then not be able to seal the deal. But, you know, Antron basically, you know, he did have a lot of red lights, but to his credit, a lot of them were just, you know, by a few thousandths of a second. He just pushed the tree, and I like his style. He's very aggressive. You know, he goes out there in red lights, you know, and he doesn't come back and, you know, have like be a 1/10 of a second late or whatever. You know, he's always going after it, and he just kind of, you know, had that range where, you know, if he hit it, he was really close, but if he missed it, he was also very close, and as a result, he got a lot of red lights. And that's what it all got down to in pro stock motorcycles. Basically, it seemed like all the brands were pretty evenly matched, the Suzukis, the Harleys, the Buells. I think the NHRA did a good job on the rules adjustment for those because that's a very difficult thing. But as a result, it ended up being, I think, the red lights and what the riders were doing on Sunday, and just Andron came up a little bit short. But he's going to like that change next year if they do quicken that tree up for the bike riders.
Let's shift gears and talk about the other normally aspirated category, Pro Stock. That was a championship that was decided back in Las Vegas by Jason Line, but the season bookended by Greg Anderson. We understand the points change again next year, but those guys are going to be right up there among the top again, Gary.
The thing that fascinated me about Jason's success, it seemed like he got better and better and better down the stretch run of the season in a car that had over 250 runs on it. And that really kind of goes against the conventional wisdom and theory that as a car ages, the performance begins to fall off. Greg Anderson, however, the last 2 events comes out with a brand new Rick Jones car and quickly got into the groove, and of course wins here at Pomona in the season ender. But the dominance of that team, Mike, I mean, how do you explain that? They just kicked everybody's butt.
You know, it's amazing as competitive as Pro Stock is that they can actually do that. I mean, we saw Greg Anderson when he won his first 2 championships. He pretty much did dominate, but then everybody pretty much caught up with him, you know, and I thought, well, okay, here we go. It's going to stay this way for a while. And then all of a sudden this year you've seen, you know, the Summit team just break out with all that big horsepower. And I like what you said with Jason Line. I mean, Jason Line did definitely get better towards the end. You know, we were very hard on him about his driving, but to his credit, he stuck in there. He didn't lose it. He just kind of went out there and finally towards the end just kind of did his own thing, had decent lights, and he knew he had a good car. If he just was close off the starting line, he could get the win. And as a result, he got the championship. I think he did a good job.
Are we amazed that Warren Johnson did not finish in the top 10?
Well, especially after the way he started the season. He had the early victory. I think it was at Phoenix, second race of the year. And then suddenly it just kind of started to erode. But then maybe that speaks to this great class. We talk about the dominance of Greg Anderson and Jason Line, but by the same token, week after week after week, 0.06 of a second separates the field of 16. And in some instances, it was only 2 or 3 hundredths. And I just find that amazing that they can be that competitive.
Of course, Pro Stock usually is among the closest in terms of margin of victory. And you know, each week Motel 6 sponsors the Who Got the Light Award. $1,000 to the winner of the closest race in Sunday eliminations at every event. The winner of the closest race all year, well, that would be Pro Stock driver Richie Stevens, who barely edged out Jimmy Yates in round 1 at St. Louis, a winning margin of just 0.03 of a second. That means Richie Stevens has $25,000 courtesy of Motel 6. Still more to come on NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil, as we talk about the season that was in Funny Car, the roller coaster ride for Ron Capps, and the rocket ride into history for John Force.
Hey,
Probably the toughest season I've ever had. Tougher than my first, and I've never said that with all my wins.
Not the winningest of seasons for John Force, but I think the reason that is we had parity in this class. Everybody in the top 10 got at least 1 race win. Jack Beckman got a race win. Makes 11 different winners, Mike.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, the last 2 years, Funny Car just seems like nobody really wants to break out and dominate this class. You know, we see some streaks where Ron Capps did very well at the beginning of the season, then Robert Height towards the end of the season, but nobody has had that domination all year long, including John Force. I mean, it seemed like every time John Force would get an opportunity, he would make a mistake or the team would make a mistake and just couldn't get a handle on it. And it was, you know, while it was fun to watch at some points, I kind of got frustrated. It's like, man, you know he's got a good race car. Why can't these guys get it together? But that's just the way it's been for the last 2 seasons in Funny Car.
And isn't it interesting to see John Force, the mellower side of John Force, and all of the involvements, the TV show and all of the things that he has going on, tugging, pulling at him, losing his voice, medical concerns, and yet here's Force somehow gutting it out, pulling it out when it's on the line to win for a 14th time. I just have to say, man, this guy truly is amazing.
There was no coffee, no beer in the last 2 months, but he did drink a lot of Coke Black, so that's good. Let's talk a little bit about surprises in Funny Car, because there were a number of those as well this year.
Well, I think you start perhaps with the Schumacher Funny Car team. Ron Capps, so dominant in the first 10, 12 events. He won 5 times. he finds himself really in a great position. And even though he was a contender right down to the very end, that performance somehow eroded. And I'm sure that that's just going to gnaw on that team all season long. Gary Scelzi, the defending champion, he struggled. He ends up with just one victory on the year. And then, of course, tremendous surprise, Mike, involving, Whit Bazemore and then his replacement, Jack Beckman.
Yeah, I mean, to get let go in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season after getting a runner-up at Indy, I mean, that was a big surprise. But then Jack coming in and doing a, good job. I mean, basically 5 races, he gets to 2 finals, wins 1, sets both ends of the national record. Did a pretty good job. The other one I got to mention is Del Worsham. I mean, who would ever thought he wouldn't even finish in the top 10? I mean, what a season that he had. I mean, one you would more than love to forget, especially when you top it off with that incident at the final race in Pomona. I expect that team, though, to bounce back because Del is just too good, and so is that team.
Tip of the cap, too, to Whit Bazemore, who did stay in that top 10 despite missing the 5 final races. And the other big surprise for me, at least, Kenny Bernstein. Can't say anything more about that. Time to reach once more into our mailbag for this week's final Fram Pit Report of the year. An email question from Marlborough, Massachusetts. The question, most stock cars have radiators, but there doesn't appear to be a cooling system on top fuelers. How do these engines stay cool? For that answer, we go to Doug Herbert's brand new crew chief, Doug Cook.
No, unlike a Pro Stocker, we don't have to run a cooling system on these cars. We run so much fuel volume through the motors that idle temperatures somewhere around 300 to 400 degrees, they just don't get very hot. They don't run for very long either, so we just don't have to have any kind of cooling system. It went away probably in the late 80s, early 90s, but that's a good question. Thank you.
2006 may be over, but we're 3 months away from kicking off the 07 season, which means you got a question, you can send it in early to NHRA@ESPN.com, and we'll do our best to get the answer for you. It seems like you can hardly pick up a newspaper today without reading about the rising costs of oil or about potential fuel shortages in the future, both of which could greatly affect motorsports in the United States. Well, some people in my native Nebraska believe they might have found a solution. They're using ethanol to power race cars down a quarter mile.
Well, it's very important to the economy. Certainly it helps farmers with the price for corn, but it's also important in terms of the whole fact that ethanol is a clean burning fuel. We won't have to pay to clean up the environment when you burn ethanol. And it's also important in terms of not having to rely on other foreign sources for oil, as we have to today.
Studies have shown that it's a clean burning fuel. The great thing about seeing it on the racetrack is we get to see the performance of it, but at the same time, the environmental benefits are there in a cleaner burning fuel.
People want to know just how much more performance we're getting out of ethanol, how the ethanol works with the fuel systems that are out there right now in the industry, how to treat the fuel systems and so on. This ethanol is not like methanol. We don't have to worry about corrosion in the fuel system or anything like you do with methanol fuel. So the ethanol is a real good replacement for really expensive racing gasoline. We can make better horsepower with it. It costs less to produce.
Still lots more to talk about on NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil, as we look ahead to 2007. And we look just a couple hours north for this week's Sportsman Spotlight.
By Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. And in part by the Fram Boost Air Intake System. Performance speaks for itself at framboost.com. And Motel 6. For the lowest price of any national chain, call 1-800-4-MOTEL-6.
Welcome back to NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil. Time now for our Lucas Oil Sportsman Spotlight. For that, let's jump in the car and go 2.5 hours north up to Bakersfield, California, home to Auto Club Famoso Raceway. Fitting place to end our season.
The track opened in the early 1950s. The first organized drag race out here was put on in 1959 by a group called the Bakersfield Smokers. And that kicked off what is now known, and we're still doing it, the March Meet.
I started racing at Famoso in 1960 when I turned 18. For me, it's coming back to where I started drag racing, and I'm really happy about that.
It's got the best people, it's got the best weather, and it's also got the best surface right now for a track. It's a lot of fun to race here. Like I say, a lot of good people here to race with. It's just a great time. We all have a wonderful time racing here.
Just the crew that runs it, real friendly atmosphere. The nice thing I come is we bring 64 cars from every track in the division, and you get to meet a lot of different people, see a lot of different cars.
It's still a very important stop on the schedule. People want they want to win Bakersfield, the March meet every year. If you can say you won Bakersfield, that's a job well done.
The NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series is the fastest series on the planet. 8,000 horsepower, 330 miles an hour. That's coming to a town near you. Here's a look at the schedule for 2007. You can see in 3 short months, we'll be right back here at Pomona to kick it off on February the 8th. And of course, we look forward to a new venue in Norwalk, Ohio. And of course, the countdown to a championship, which begins Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. As you check a look at the schedule, Gary and Mike join me again. Looking forward to 07. Gary, what are you looking forward to?
3 things immediately come to mind. Ashley Force, turning pro in the funny car ranks. I think that's going to demand and require a lot of attention. You mentioned Kenny Bernstein earlier, coming back. Can he be competitive? Ray Alley tuning that car, one thing or another. And Whit Bazemore as a top fuel driver for the first time in his career.
Mike?
Well, yeah, those are great changes. They're going to be really fun to watch. But, I mean, basically that countdown to the championship is going to be the key, I think, next year. It's going to help a lot of the lesser teams because, like we said at the beginning of the show, I mean, the top teams are still going to be the top teams. But as we get down to Indy and they narrow it down to 8 and then down to just 4, I mean, that is going to give the lesser teams an opportunity. And the other thing is the fact if it doesn't look like we're going to have a new tire coming in for the fuel teams, that's going to be a big help because that's going to allow some of the lesser teams that have the knowledge and the runs that struggled, this year, they should be able to come out of the gate running. Should make it a little bit more competitive. It's really going to be fun to watch down the stretch.
Put yourself back in the driver's seat, though. Would you like it as a driver?
If I got to Indy and I was only 7th or 8th, I'd love it. If I was 1st or 2nd, I would hate it.
Well, that is a wrap on the 2006 season. We're certainly glad you could join us here at the Wally Parks NHRA Motorsport Museum. For Gary Gerould, for Mike Dunn, I'm Dave Reef. It's been a great season, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2007. NHRA Today is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you in 3 months.
Inside Drag Racing closes out the season with the SEMA show in Las Vegas. We'll show you the latest